Hi there, welcome to Gumtree Live. I'm Jana Marie, and I am the editor and publisher of Under the Gumtree. We are celebrating the launch of issue 17, our 4-year anniversary issue. So this is an exciting night for us. We are so excited to have 4 years of publishing stories told without shame. And I want to give a shout out to our virtual audience. If you're joining us virtually, thank you for being here. And if you're tweeting or commenting online, please use the hashtag GumtreeLive. Just hashtag GumtreeLive, and then we can follow the conversation and you can see who else is also watching and share comments and your favorite quotes from readers tonight, and just kind of keep the chatter going online while we hear from our readers. Gumtree Live is a quarterly web series which we do with the launch of every issue, and so this is about the 7th or 8th Gumtree Live that we have hosted to launch a new issue and bring readers together virtually. They're joining us from all over the country tonight, and because we are not all in the same location, we can still come together for a brief time online and have a reading and hear from some of our authors in the current issue, which, thanks to technology, it's a pretty awesome thing to be able to do. So before we get started with our readers tonight, I just need to say a quick shout out to my staff, my all-volunteer staff. Robin Martin is my senior editor. She was on the call with us a little bit ahead of our broadcast to say hello to our readers. And she's really my right-hand gal, and I would not be able to put out the magazine 4 times a year on time, on schedule without her help. Also, Kate Ashey is my associate editor, and she helps contributing to editing some of the pieces when necessary. And then my assistant editors, Becca Littman, Katie DeJarnette, and Ellison Alcavendez. Huge support for us in helping us read all of the submissions that we get. And lastly, but certainly not least, is Amy Steffen Tabor, my art director. She solicits all of the beautiful art that you see in the magazine, and she does the page layout, and so the magazine certainly would not be what it is without her. Under the Gumtree is a reader-supported magazine, which means that there are no advertising in our pages, and that is wonderful because I'm so happy to be able to produce a gorgeous magazine that is free of ads. It really keeps the flow and the look and feel of the magazine to be very artful and beautiful as much as we possibly can. And so we need all the support we can get. We're always looking for subscribers, and the subscription is $2 a month for a digital only, or $7 a month for digital plus print. So if you really are into art and true stories and nonfiction, true stories told without shame, I encourage you to head on over to Under the Gumtree and check out the subscriptions where your subscription dollars directly support the authors and artists that we publish. Okay, let's get on with it. Our first reader for the evening tonight, we're going to be hearing from 3, maybe 4 readers. We've had a little bit of connection issues this evening, and so 3 for sure. If we can get one more person connected, potentially 4 people tonight. And our first reader is joining us from Southern Illinois, I think, maybe Central, somewhere in Illinois. And his essays and poems have been published in journals like the Colorado Review, Hayden's Ferry, Citron Review, Swink, Crab Orchard, DMQ Review, Rain Taxi, and Fifth Wednesday Journal. He's the author of 4 books. His work has been nominated for 2 Pushcart Prizes and named a notable essay by the Best American Essays in 2012. Please welcome Markleben. Mark, real quick, you're still muted, so go ahead and unmute your mic for us.
Is that good?
There you go. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Jana. This is the beginning of my essay, Driving to Find Home. I remember rain falling on my head and soaking my clothes, and showers sweeping across the land, filling the rivers and helping them dance. I remember the happy voices of the moist earth rising with the mist and floating through the trees. But the last time this happened was months ago. The rainy season hasn't started. My heart and body ache with Evelyn's loss. Like the earth, I have dried to a husk. I'm lethargic with little energy to pull out of my funk and move on with life. And Evelyn dying in her 40s has taken away my desire to even try. In an empty, quiet house, I no longer know where home is. The last couple of nights, in the long hours of unsettled dreams, coyotes have appeared. I listen to them because my friend Molly thinks coyote is my spirit guide. And what the coyotes say is, you need to be in Yosemite. When I camped there 3 months ago, shortly after Ev died, happy memories of her were burning everywhere, and the transcendence of Yosemite's landscape was missing. If I go again and feel nothing good, I will know that my last special place on earth is gone, and my final descent will begin. House about to head to Yosemite. In the darkness, I hear the slow rhythm of the sleeping breathing. The Alones once lived on this land, hunting in the woods and fishing in San Francisco Bay. I feel their presence in the shadows. Driving east over the Oakland Hills on Highway 580, I think about the naturalist John Muir, a wanderer who grew up on a farm near my hometown in Wisconsin and moved to California a century before it. He also fell in love with Yosemite and took several weeks to walk my approximate route in 868. It will be 4 hours to reach what he called the range of light. As I drive, I will move through California's geologic history, traveling from a large bay and ocean to farmland, then grassland, rocky foothills and into the mountains, while great forces created a dramatic landscape, like the plate tectonics that pushed the Sierra Nevada mountains 3 miles into the air. It's the weather in each locale that shapes the land, its people. I will also drive into increasing isolation. People have chosen to live in each landscape because of something they found that was important to their lives, or something they were running from, finding places where they could follow their dreams or work through their personal demons. Some like to live in rural towns. Others need to be by themselves in the woods. As I travel, try each landscape on to see how it feels and consider making a new home there. Once over the coastal mountains in Altamont Pass, I glide down into the black pool of the Great Central Valley, turn on Interstate 5 and head south. In the darkness, the night sky stretches from horizon to horizon, and I'm surrounded by millions of stars and constellations that inspired ancient civilizations to the dark noetic heavens with their imaginations. The night air is balmy and soft, and the space is star, quiet and deep. After an hour of driving south through the universe, with an occasional car shooting by like a meteor, I turn east on Highway 140 for Augustine into the San Joaquin Valley. The land is visible in the darkness, but the morning star shines like a beacon and hovers over the land that will take me to Yosemite. I'm seeing what Muir saw when he stood here in the last hour before dawn. Life in the valley is a mosaic of people, nature, and history. A tense patchwork of lives and farms that intersect as they sort out cropuses. People are trying to raise families and make enough money to survive, while nature tries to survive the changes that people make in the environment. In a place that once was filled with the beauty of creation and a rich diversity of wildlife, an industrialized agriculture zone exists, where animals and birds struggle to survive along the edges.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. One thing I forgot to mention for the virtual viewers, although there's no live audience, there's no loud applause, but there is a little applause button that you can click for clapping, and it makes a little sound for you guys. We don't hear it on our end, but when the video goes to YouTube, there are spikes in the progress bar for like where people are clapping and cheering. So that's a little fun feature of the Hangout here. Okay, our next reader is joining us from Northeast Ohio, where she is a candidate in the Northeast Ohio MFA program at the University of Akron. Her work has appeared in Rubber Top Review, She Loves Magazine, Exo Jane, and Time.com. She lives in Ohio with her husband, 3 sons, and a giant orange cat. Please welcome Abby Bechtel.
Hi. All right, I am going to read from my essay, which is called Between Weekends. The first time we go all the way is unplanned, even though it follows 15 months of everything but touching and kissing, sleeping naked in his twin bed, dirty AOL instant messaging. When he finally puts it inside me for the first time, neither of us has a condom, and he pulls out and comes onto my stomach. Because sex is a thing that's strictly forbidden. To have a condom would be to acknowledge that sex is going to happen, which is to say that sin is going to happen, and it must not. It must not happen because now I am the chewed piece of bubble gum that my high school pastor admonished our youth group never to become. I am the piece of duct tape he showed us that has been stuck to something and pulled back off. The next time I stick to something, my glue won't be as sticky, I won't adhere as well, I will be speckled with bits of lint and cat fur and dirt, and every time I stick to something new, I lose more of the thing that makes me me. What's the point of duct tape that's lost its stickiness? In the moment that it happens, I feel 1,000 things at once. I am afraid, oh God, what's going to happen to me now? I am resigned, this was always going to happen. I am sad, I have given something away that I can never get back. And I'm wanting, so much wanting. It is Sunday morning, and when we're done, we go to his church, where everyone chooses to believe that when I visit for the weekend, I stay in Kathy's dorm room. Kathy herself only sleeps in her dorm room when her parents are visiting from Pennsylvania. She spends the rest of her nights in Walt's apartment. She understands. Late that evening, we drive to the gas station, where he buys me a tank of gas and a Snapple peach iced tea, and I drive him back to his dorm and hold him as tightly as I can for a long time before I drive away. I do not cry until I am off campus, and then I pull into the mall parking lot until the shaking stops. It is 308 miles from his dorm parking lot to mine. If I don't stop, I can make the trip back to Akron in exactly 5 hours, even with the 25 miles per hour stretch in West Virginia. Tolls are $6.50, and my fuel light will come on just as I pull off the turnpike. I could almost make this drive in my sleep, which is to say that going through Pennsylvania, I have to slap my legs with one hand and open my jaw wide like a snake and force my eyebrows up until my forehead muscles are sore, and more than once the rumble strips buzz me awake. I watch the road with one eye while I flip through the zippered CD binder, pop the Offspring out of the CD player, and slide in Soundgarden in its place, crank it loud, and bounce in my seat with the music. The opening guitar riff of Spoon Man goes like this. Te do 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 te do so fa me fa 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 do do do. I shout saying the solfege syllables because it gives my brain something to do while I drive, and because it assuages the guilt of missing my Monday morning ear training and sight singing class, which I will almost certainly sleep through to make up for the sleepless weekend. I will fully intend to go to my next class, Advanced Piano Technique, But when it comes time to actually get out of bed, I will rationalize that it would be too embarrassing if I bumped into anyone from my first class down there in the music building's basement hallways where the muffled sounds from the practice rooms wash like waves into the classrooms. Later, I will drag myself to the practice rooms and force myself to work on whatever I missed in piano class, and I will slide the cold joints of my flute together and try to practice the music I missed when I skipped concert band on Friday afternoon because I couldn't wait any longer to get on the road to Virginia. But mostly, I will be watching the clock tick slowly toward his phone call. And before long, my flute will be resting on top of the piano, and I will be sitting on the bench writing him another letter until someone bangs on the glass door and asks if they can use the practice room. I'm very bad at being a music major. These days, I'm very bad at everything weekday, the long airless pause after an exhale. I live in smothered panic until it is Friday afternoon and I am back in my car, pointed east, the head of the gear shift firm in my hand. Thanks.
Thank you, Abby. Applause, applause, applause. Click that applause button, you virtual audience people, and give some love to our readers. Okay, our next and final reader for the evening is a writer, journalist, and former attorney whose work has also appeared in Salon, The Atlantic, The Boston Globe, The Baffler, The Morning News, and Pop Matters. His debut collection of personal essays is forthcoming in 2016, and he joins us this evening from Massachusetts. Please welcome Benjamin Winterhalter.
Thank you. This one's called My Halloween Ritual. Fall always feels like the beginning of the year to me. When September rolls around and the air holds just the slightest chill, even on the sunny days, I invariably find myself feeling like I'm starting something new. I almost never feel this way on actual New Year's. I usually just feel hungover. In school days, though, September always means new clothes and new teachers, as well as a clean academic slate. In busy adulthood, I don't suppose the beginning of fall necessarily means much of anything, but the sense of promise comes to me anyway, the spirit unbidden but not unwelcome, whispering, this can be the year you really get it right, whatever it is anyway. This early autumnal excitement usually vanishes by October. When the grocery stores start selling pumpkins and the fall beers hit the shelves and the cardigans become seasonally necessary and well fucking everything becomes pumpkin, the shiny new sense of promise is overtaken by a mild, difficult to place kind of sadness. Maybe it's just the prospect of it getting colder soon. Despite having spent nearly a decade in New England, I still find its snow-gray weather nearly intolerable. I'm sure many hardened Bostonians are currently mumbling gruffly about how that makes me kind of a weenie. But I don't think that's it, not really. It seems stupid to me to be genuinely upset about the weather. Talking about the weather is the most hackneyed stereotype of meaningless small talk. I suppose there is seasonal affective disorder, at least certain pharmaceutical companies would like me to believe there is seasonal affective disorder, but I kind of think that's bullshit. Weather is no more the cause of deep personal unhappiness than a crushing loss for the local sports team, and I don't care if Pfizer or whoever has done randomized control trials that suggest otherwise. More likely, what's going on is that I've already seen my optimism begin to lose its pristine shine, like the leather of new shoes starting to scuff and bend. It's a hard realization. New beginning or not, everything in my life is pretty much the same. My problems, insignificant though they are, have not magically gone away. My imperfect relationships haven't suddenly and mysteriously repaired themselves. This feeling is heavy, makes one aware of the gradual loss of one's youth, which feels like a hand-wringing T.S. Eliot kind of thing to say, and that ain't a good look for nobody, sorry. I think there's even a Death Cab for Cutie song about it called The New Year, which only makes matters worse. I guess one good thing about October is that there are, at the end of the month, Halloween parties to go to. Unlike some of my friends who sew their own sequin mermaid suits or take great trouble hunting down the perfect Indiana Jones jacket, I'm not an especially enthusiastic costume maker. I don't totally not try, and I usually enjoy the parties themselves a great deal, but I just can't bring myself to care that much about a costume that I'll wear for one night and probably spill beer on regardless. What I like about Halloween parties is not just the girls in slutty insert cultural archetype here outfits, though they certainly don't hurt. What I like most is that Halloween seems to be the one semi-major holiday that young people actually manage to celebrate together, rather than going home to family as on Christmas or Thanksgiving. You get to see people you've only known as my colleague or my classmate in fairy wings or Ronald McDonald suits, reveling together in high Dionysian style, bobbing for apples, sipping rum punch, and dancing badly to Daft Punk. For me, that's exciting. Halloween parties are something to look forward to in a month I mostly just want to escape from. Does my affection for them have some greater meaning? Probably not. But I still think it's valuable to share festivities with the people one knows. Is even saying that overly sentimental? Probably so. What can I say? October always makes me sad. I've discovered ways of getting by, though. I wear shorts for as long as reasonably possible as a way of hanging foolishly on to summer. I set ambitious goals for my October workdays as a way of counteracting the paradoxical feeling that I've somehow already failed to meet them. I contemplate adopting a completely new look, ditching the whole preppy thing I've adopted and going in a plaid shirts and jean jackets direction, but then I remember that I'm not only as a way of reminding myself that it's still warm enough to do so. But these methods of coping are improvised, they're ad hoc, which is to say that they're only so effective in staving off the melancholy, which has a way of seeping in through the cracks. In the days leading up to Halloween, despite my best efforts to maintain my cheer, I still find myself sitting at home in the evenings, binge-watching Parks and Recreation, and sipping, well, probably some kind of goddamn pumpkin ale, wondering what the hell I'm doing with my life. Fortunately, I have lighted on a more effective countermeasure, the kind preferred by religions all over the world, namely doing the same thing every year at a preordained time, which is not unlike the tradition of Halloween, incidentally. I watched Donnie Darko by myself.
Thank you, Ben. I was laughing at the funny parts, although you couldn't hear me because I had my mic muted. So hopefully the virtual audience was also laughing and finding amusing the jabs at all the pumpkin spice jokes you were making about October and this time of year. And thank you, Mark and Abby, also for joining us and making the evening what it is. I so appreciate your time, and you know, figuring out the technology sometimes isn't always the easiest for everyone, so I'm glad we got it together. And thank you, virtual audience, for joining us. It's so much fun to have a small little glimpse into what makes Under the Gum Tree what it is with these stories from these writers. And so if you are not following us online, please check us out on Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, Instagram. We're on all the social media channels. Look for us at Under Gumtree is usually the handle, and of course you can find all of that info on our website, underthegumtree.com. And we hope you have a great rest of the evening, a great rest of this season, which is about to kick off with the holidays here coming up pretty quick. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Gumtree Live.